Like when you have when someone has a suggestion or a problem, but the first thing they need to do to like fix the problem or take the suggestion is to like do it themselves. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest issues I've had in no code, and again, don't get me wrong, I only build things I like. I build for myself. I'm really slow. I don't know all the tools, but what I know, I like, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that has bothered me the most, especially talking about no code across borders, is how on one side of the pond, like we create all these tools and content in English, which is fine, it's great, but we never really think about what that's like for people in other parts of the world, right? And so my point is like this, I guess the concept is internationalization of no code, in the sense that when you build, like let's start with programming languages, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm a programmer and I work in JavaScript, or like let's go even maybe I work in Node, or I write in C++, right? No matter where I live in the world, like the way those programming languages and the semantics around them have been designed is that you literally just know specific commands, like you know what a class is, you know what a function is, and you type and it auto completes, but it's still based on English, right? So my point is like, what about no code tools that actually include internationalization as part of their like user feature? Like when I use Webflow, I can literally have Webflow like do everything and say everything in French. Is there any tool out there that you use that does that? Like if, because to me, like the problem is if it's built in France for French no coders, it's probably all built in French. So if I don't know French, I can't use that tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But the real thing is that French companies that are working on tech products that are made for a larger audience than just French-speaking people are building their stuff in English.
Wow.
So I guess the international language of no code is going to be English, and that's completely understandable. As if you use one term, for example, if you want to teach something or learn something about webhooks, that's a term that's used everywhere. You know, you wanted to use it on Zapier and or any other tools, it's called webhooks. It's not going to be translated into French, you know.
Right.
Otherwise, you would need to every tool to be translated in French to understand what webhook translation is. So I guess it's going to be complicated to.
Yeah. Well, I run into this a lot, and especially with some projects I'm working on with makers across the world. I just run into this issue where, like for example, I'm looking at this tool. It's called Bond Layer. The founder is out of Portugal, and essentially, it's a no-code builder like Bubble, like Webflow. But aside from being able to build in English, you can literally like turn your projects in, into into projects that will appeal to users in different parts of the world. So like I can build it in English, but then I can just translate everything into Portuguese, into French, into Spanish. So I don't have to be an agency in the US building and in just in English for English speakers. And Sergio, the founder, I think he used to have an agency, and they had to build a lot of stuff for clients in Spain and France and all over Europe. And they eventually decided to like build a tool that helps them do that for their clients. But now it's a web builder. But the web builder has language translation inherent in inherent in the base feature. Does that make sense?
Is the tool translated or the thing you do with the tool?
So you so like a programmer, you can work in the tool. So yes, if it's a webhook, it still says webhook or whatever, but the point is, once you finished your project, let's say you build your website Tim's let's say you build your website Tim's on this platform, you can then either, you have a couple of choices. You could maybe download, let's see, you could probably use a tool like, what's it called? Weglot.
Yeah.
You could use a tool like Weglot and translate your website into a different language, right? Or what bond layer is showing essentially is you could translate your website, or in this case, they also, I think they want to help build web apps. You could translate that into a different language so that if you created a tool for finding houses in the UK, you can then, white label it, and someone can use that same tool and they can use it in, Barcelona. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Well, that's a really interesting, and that's a first step. And I really like the fact that some people are concerned about that. Trying to make it easier for everyone to use no code and understand it. I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going to be. In 1 year or two. Is it going to be the main thing? Is everyone going to translate their tool and their products to be understandable by everyone, or is English still going to be, a must know to understand and use those tools?